Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for MMA fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and I'm here to get you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. In this series, I'll be watching tape and providing my real time analysis on how I think the fights are going to go. I'll be watching for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies, pairing that with Fighting Stats' exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else to give you a prediction on how I think the fights are going to go and ultimately who's going to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. My name is Art C, and this is your main event breakdown between Derrick Lewis and Jailton Almeida. They are meeting up in UFC SaoPaolo. Jailton Almeida 19-2, Derrick Lewis 27-11-1, no contest. Now, if you were with us, we taped the whole Jailton Almeida side, his rise to the UFC and how he got here. We also taped Derrick Lewis, his last 7 or 8 fights, seeing what his tendencies are. And here is my breakdown. Worth noting a couple of stats that pop off the page right away. Jailton Almeida loves the takedown. So I will start on that side. What we saw in Jailton Almeida's side is he opens up orthodox. He stands in the middle of the cage. He throws a couple of high kicks, rear high kick, outside maybe low kick, and then he shoots for a naked takedown. Doesn't matter, his shots are so good, they're pretty fast, that he gets his opponents up against the cage. He usually gets that takedown almost right away. Once on the ground, he will look to stay in half guard. He prefers half guard where he fights for position. He always seems to be one step ahead, whereas he knows his opponents need that far side to post to get up, or needs to butt scoot to use the fence to get up. Jailton is always trying to one step ahead, so you'll see him grabbing the far side post so he cannot post to get up. You'll see him working the half guard. You'll see him put a lot of heavy pressure on the upper half of the body while he works the legs and tries to get the leg out from under half guard. Remember, he's staying in half guard, so he's trying to push that other leg out to get it into mount. That's what he looks for. Almost every fight he does do it. He either gets into mount and then he rains down some ground and pound, some Donkey Kong fists, and then when his opponent rolls over, he's right away looking for the choke. So he's looking for a rear naked choke along the back, or he will actually ground and pound from the back as well. So I always said it was pick your poison. The amount of times that his opponent rolls over, his finishes depends on if the opponents want to eat some ground and pound, or if they want to take the easier way out, get choked out, and you tap out, and you are no worse than where. So in terms of the stand-up, we haven't seen much stand-up here. So strikes absorbed, he's absorbed 0.3 strikes per minute. So every three minutes he's fought, he's eaten 1 strike. And a lot of his fights have been inside the first round. So I think total he might have been hit 3 times. It's less than 10 for sure. So we haven't really seen him prolonged stand-up. We did see him get caught by a left hook by, I think... Shamil landed a left hook on him. He did eat some punches in his Contender Series fight. Looked to be able to take him and eat them and go right back to the grappling. But if you were ever to knock anything on Jailton Almeida, is just his stand-up is such an unknown. He relies so heavily on his wrestling and his grappling that his stand-up in a prolonged striking fight would definitely get questioned. He was originally scheduled to fight Curtis Blades, so that would have been an interesting fight to see how he would react if he can't get the takedown against one of the best wrestlers in the heavyweight division. But nonetheless, now Derrick Lewis steps in and fights Jailton Almeida. Derrick Lewis, we saw him. He's never been the most technical, but he has such power in his hands. I call Derrick Lewis my kryptonite. Every time you see me talk about him, I cannot get his fights right. I don't think he's the most technical. I cap him at always sort of a puncher's chance, and somehow he lands those punches. So maybe I got to cap the puncher's chance a little bit higher, but he stands in orthodox. He's always eating left kicks or right low kicks. He doesn't check any of the kicks. So against heavy kickers like Gon, it really piled up. Even against who was it? Couple of guys. We thought Lima was going to do that, but in his last fight, he won by flying knee. So he lost 3 fights in a row. Tuivasa, we saw Sergey Spivak submit him, and Gon KO him as well. 3 fights in a row, still in top 10. Got Rodrigo de Lima, won by flying knee of all things. So now he's coming off a win, takes on Jailton Almeida. Yeah, I think Almeida easily gets the takedown. We see that his Derrick Lewis takedown defense is at 52%. Almeida's takedown accuracy 68%. It's probably a little bit higher than that, but that's what the numbers say. Again, Almeida not known to really absorb some punches. One thing to note, and I really took a lot out of it, is from the Derrick Lewis Sergey Spivak fight. It's very similar. You get a poor man's Jailton Almeida, and Sergey Spivak opened up with a couple of kicks, and right away I think it was more of a body lock where he got the takedown, got Lewis down. Lewis does Lewis things where he just says enough with this and stands back up. But then Sergey Spivak with the body lock able to bring him right back down again. So even if Jailton Almeida, we know he's going to shoot for a takedown. 100% going to shoot for the takedown. I would cap the success rate of that takedown probably at 90%. Let's say, for example, Lewis doesn't get or defends and breaks off. Jailton's just going to shoot another one. And so 90% plus 90%, it's almost a lock that he gets that takedown. Once on top, will Derrick Lewis get up? Probably not. Jailton Almeida is very good at keeping top control, taking away the post. Derrick Lewis is a big guy. We saw in the Shamil fight against Jailton, against the Parker Porter against Jailton. These big guys really have a trouble of getting back up to their feet. So once Lewis gets taken down, I assume he's going to stay down for the round. Lewis giving up the back rather than eating ground and pound is very likely. Lewis also has a pretty good chin that we've seen. He has to have a good chin to throw these strikes and fight the way he has fight. So I think the ground and pound is live for Almeida, but I probably prefer the submission just because depending on the referee will let the fight go a little bit longer from the ground and pound, knowing that we got to give Lewis a chance. He's on his back and, this and that. But he's not going to be doing the right things. He'll probably push off, give the arms up. The arm bar might be there. We've never seen Almeida really look for it, but arm triangle is there for Almeida in mount if he wants it. Otherwise, Derrick Lewis will probably turn, give up his back, and get choked out by rear naked choke. Will it go into round 2? Probably not. I think the Almeida sub comes right away. If it goes into round 2, it's going to be probably a 10-8 round. I think for Derrick Lewis to win, he's going to have to pull a Rodrigo de Lima fight again, where he just blitzes out and comes forward and empties the tank within the first 30 seconds. In a 5-round fight in Brazil, what are you going to do? Stand at range and try to, outpoint him? He's not going to do that. We saw in the Gain fight, we saw in the Curtis Blades fight, that Derrick Lewis is content with staying on the outside, losing the minutes, losing the points, and he's looking to load up the counter. So if Lewis takes the same approach as the Curtis Blades fight, where he's trying to time the takedown, every time Lewis or Blades came in, he was looking to level change, throw the right hook, and he actually landed the right uppercut. If he doesn't land that, I think Jailton's just going to destroy him. So Lewis's timed uppercut or flying knee and blitz forward, and that's about it. Otherwise, I think, again, Jailton's going to get the submission pretty early. I'll probably end up on the submission side, may sprinkle KO or may get KO by ground and pound by looking at that. So all right, so how do I break this fight down? Let's go well deep into the numbers here. Let's run some numbers, try to get you a best line. On this side, we have Derrick Lewis wins by TKO. I think that's most of his win equity here. Basically a puncher's chance, like I said. Where do you cap a puncher's chance? I think it's, again, either going to be flying knee early, like we saw in the Lima fight, where he just a new improved Lewis, where he just comes out blitzing forward in a 5-round fight, or he'll have to do something like the Blades fight, where he times the uppercut, times the entry, and lands a punch. Otherwise, it's not that high. So, just given the matchup, given that the fight will probably not take place on the feet for too long, I don't think he can give more than 10%. I wanted to go over, but I'm not going to. Derrick Lewis wins by sub, big fat 0. No point of going into it. You can go over to the stats. Derrick Lewis has never attempted a submission. How are you going to sub Almeida off your back? Derrick Lewis by armbar, not going to happen. So win by decision. We've seen Derrick Lewis give up a lot of rounds just with inactivity. If he chooses not to blitz there, he gets eaten up outside low kicks. Again, I assume that most of this fight will take place on the ground. So how is he going to win by decision with his back on the ground? So out of respect for Derrick Lewis, because I've lost Derrick Lewis by decision before, I'm going to put 5% there. Don't talk to me about the Derrick Lewis-Francis Ngannou fight where he won by decision and that. No one saw that coming. So Almeida by TKO. It's probably not going to happen on the feet. Derrick Lewis just has a big chin. Won't want to stand for too long. If it does come, it'll probably come from ground and pound. So I'm going to cap that around 20%, just because the ground and pound is live. The way that Lewis moves over, a lot of strikes and mount. But I'm going to say 20%. The sub here, I think, is the way to go. We're going to cap it around 50%. Just the way, if we think about Lewis's takedown defense, not great. We think how good Almeida is on the ground. I think 50% is honestly about right. And then 10% we're going to leave for decision. Well, 15%. We'll cap it at 15%. Okay, so if he doesn't get the sub, somehow Derrick Lewis is a master of defending submissions and whatnot. Almeida probably wins by decision just based on top time. We've seen him be really good at controlling. Actually, it's a 5-round fight in Brazil. How does it get to decision? Let's go 10%. Let's go sub 55. Maybe another 5 on the KO, but again, we haven't seen Almeida go deep, and that's one of the concerns, is that we haven't seen him go deep. He could fall off a cliff like Khamzat Chimaev, where he's a dominant wrestler round 1, and then in round 2 he just completely slows down. So I guess it's possible that Derrick Lewis finds a KO late. He survives some submissions early and gets the KO late. I'm just not willing to go more than 10%. I don't know. It's that extra 5% whether or not I keep it at Almeida sub or Derrick Lewis KO. I'm going to leave it at sub because I think Almeida just dominates. So what that means is Derrick Lewis is total of 15% plus 567 or better. So I would need plus 567 or better to get to the Lewis side. Lewis by inside the distance. Again, most of his win equity is tied to the inside the distance at 10%, so plus 900 or better. The fight not to go to decision, 85%, so minus 567 or better as well. And inside the distance only for Lewis, plus 750, decision only plus 200. Probably not going to touch those lines. If you see sub only for Almeida, probably ends up minus 10,000. So anything less than that is probably value. On the Almeida side, total, wins by TKO 20%. Almeida win by TKO works out to be about plus 400. Wins by sub is 55%, so minus 122 or better. Wins by decision 10%, so plus 900 or better. Total money line is 85%, so minus 567 or better. If you can get that on Almeida, I think it's value. Almeida to win inside the distance, minus 300. So that side is also value. Again, this is a 5-round fight. This is in Brazil. Semi-short notice for Lewis. How hard is Lewis really training at 38, 39 years old for this fight? I doubt he goes 5 rounds. Almeida inside the distance only 88%, so minus 750. You might be able to get a decent line on that, noting that Lewis's best shot is inside the distance only. A lot of money will come in on Lewis inside the distance only. If you're going to take Lewis, do not take a money line. Take him either by KO or inside the distance only, and it gives you a little bit of leeway. If somehow Almeida wins by decision, that bet will push, but again, unlikely. Decision only, I have Almeida minus 200. That probably gets steamed up a little bit as well. And again, sub only, if you see any line on that, you should be taking it for Almeida. So overall, Almeida minus 567. If we go over to the current odds right now, the props are not out, but you can get minus 450 on Almeida. Jailton Jr., Derrick Lewis, the comeback, plus 410. So it looks like money is coming in on Derrick Lewis. He opened up plus 525, right away got smashed down. up to now he's currently plus 375. I would be interested to see, if I had to guess, I think the Almeida side gets smashed. So if you're looking for the Lewis side, I would assume try to, yeah, maybe you could wait. You probably get a better line on Derrick Lewis. I just don't see many paths to victory for him outside of a blitz within the first 30 seconds. And again, outside of a perfectly timed uppercut like Curtis Blades. Jailton does shoot a naked takedown, so it's possible. But it has to be really well timed and it has to be right on the button. Otherwise, I think Jailton wins by submission. Does it get out of the first round? I don't think so. Jailton's just too dominant. You could do sub round 1. Some hedge with sub round 2. I think the books are going to be in on it. I think they're going to line those probably about right. Very little value. I mean, you'll probably get Jailton sub probably around like plus 200 or something. So, very juiced. You're expecting to get like 500-600 on a sub, especially in round 1, but I doubt it's there. We can keep an eye out. Remember, if you like and subscribe, you're getting these lines early. The props aren't even out yet. I'm releasing them before I even bet on them. So you're in the same book as me. I'll be looking for those props, looking to play those. And when I do play them, turn on those notifications. You'll get notified when I make those plays. And hopefully we'll see you at the window cashing those Jailton Almeida tickets. Best of luck on the weekend, guys. Thanks for watching. My name is Art C, and this is Fighting Stats. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Again, my name is Art C. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Electrocute. You can follow Fighting Stats on all social media platforms. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Every time we post out new content, you will be notified right away so that you can get access to the best lines available. We're always betting them. We're always watching tapes, so I might as well subscribe to it. Save yourself some time. Let me do the work for you and bet along with us. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys at the window.